Hello everyone, this is Yoan, and in this episode I'm bringing you the mini crossbody bag 2 project. So this is sort of the spin-off from my very first version of the mini crossbody bag project that I shared sometimes last year that has been very popular in this channel. So many of you guys have made the bag successfully. Many of you send me the pictures, tagging me on Instagram, posting on my Facebook page. So thank you so much. Keep them coming. I love seeing your creations. So what are the difference with this second version? First thing first, there are 2 front zipper pockets. With the first version, there's only 1. So this time we've got 2. And inside, there are 6 card pockets. So you can certainly leave out your wallet if you wish to. Also, I made this fancier strap with vinyl or faux leather. Of course, you can stick with fabric strap or use weaving strap. The finished measurements of this bag are approximately 9 inch by 7 inch by 1 inch deep. So it is a slight wider than the first version by 1 inch. The rest of the features are pretty much the same as the first mini crossbody bag. So it has a zipper closure, a slip pocket at the back, also a couple of slip pockets in the interior as well. Now before we jump into the tutorial, let's give a shout out to our today's sponsor, Skillshare. Thank you so much Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Every year, I always try to allocate a portion of time simply to learn something new, something that is completely different or out of my comfort zone. The reason I do that is simply out of curiosity, and I also believe that learning something new is good for you, for your brain, for your well-being. So Skillshare is such an amazing platform for this because it is an online learning community. They've got thousands of classes from various topics, from arts, crafts, graphic design, lifestyle, entrepreneurship, and much more. One of the classes that I recently took and I enjoyed very much is the Organic Expressive Florals with Watercolor and Ink by Omar Win. So it is a watercolor painting lesson. In this class, Omar takes away the fear to get started with watercolor painting. I love her teaching method. Her demo is fantastic, yet she made it doable for us as a beginner to follow along. In Skillshare, there are also classes for advanced learner. It is curated specifically for learning, meaning there are no ads, and they are always launching new premium classes. So if you are interested in exploring many awesome classes on Skillshare, right now, the first 1,000 people who click the link in the description box will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare premium membership. So what are you waiting for? Join now, give it a try, and enjoy your learning experience with Skillshare. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and without further ado, let's get started. Let's start by working on the front exterior. So here we've got panel 1, panel 2, and panel 3. Fuse the wrong sides with some fusible woven interfacing. Now let's prepare the zipper. We're gonna work on the lower zipper pocket first. So we're gonna use regular zipper, 1 inch wide. And you want to trim the zipper to measure exactly 10 inches long. For the zipper tabs, you want to cut 2 little rectangles. Fold the long sides in half, wrong sides together of course. Position that along the edges of the zipper. The edges of the zipper should be aligned with the raw edges of the zipper tab. Now you may secure this in place with some sewing clips and then repeat the same to the opposite side. Again, you want to make sure to align the edges of the zipper and the edges of the zipper tab, and then stitch along the folded edges with 1/8 of an inch of seam allowance. Trim off the excess zipper tab to be the same width as the zipper tape. Now let's trim off the edges of the zipper about 1/2 inch. This way the side seams will not be too bulky. Take panel 3 and lay that right side up. Now I kind of prefer to use basting tape to baste my zipper sandwich. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply this along the top edges. Peel the paper layer off. Now let's take the zipper. I like to position the start of the zipper at my left hand side. Now lay the zipper right side down. And then finger press so that the zipper tape will be sticking to the fabric. Apply some more basting tape along the edges of the zipper tape. Now take panel 4 or the inner pocket panel, and you want to lay that right side down, also aligning the edges, and then finger press so that the fabric will be sticking to the basting tape. Once everything is secured, go ahead and stitch this in place with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. Alright, now let's turn this to the right side and then press the seams, both the exterior and the interior as well, and top stitch. And there you go. Next, we're gonna sew panel 2 to the top edges of the zipper tape. If your fabric has directional prints, you wanna flip this to the opposite so that the bottom part is facing up, just like so. Now let's apply basting tape along the edges. Now lay the zipper panel right side down. Let's apply some more basting tape along the edges of the zipper tape. Bring the bottom edge of panel 4 towards the top edges. Press the fabric so that it will be sticking to the basting tape. And then sew with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. And once you've done that, you want to press the seams and then top stitch. And there you go, our lower pocket is done. Now we're going to work on the upper pocket, so you want to prep your zipper exactly the same way as the lower pocket. Now I'm going to baste my zipper sandwich just like before, so let's apply some basting tape along the top edges of panel 2. Now let's take the zipper, and I like to make sure that the zipper pull is facing the same direction. Now let's lay this right side down. Now let's apply basting tape along the edges, and then take panel 5 and lay that right side down. Then go ahead and sew with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. And once you've done that, you want to turn this to the right side. Of course, we're going to press the seams. I like using my hero marker. You can also just finger press or use iron on low setting. Once everything is nice and neat, go ahead and top stitch. And there you go. Now let's apply some more basting tape along the top edges. Now lay panel 1 right side down, aligning the bottom edges of panel 1 with the top edges of the zipper. And once everything is secured, go ahead and sew with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. Now you want to press the seams and top stitch. Once you've done top stitching, what we're going to do next, we're going to trim off the bottom of this panel so that it will measure 7.5 inches tall. The reason we're doing this is to make room for any error that might happen when sewing the zipper, because as much as we want to be accurate, especially when sewing zipper, you may end up a little bit off here or a little bit off there. It may be easier to get away with if there is only one zipper, but if there are 2 zippers, it may get a little frustrating. So I align my ruler at 7.5 inch point and then trim with my rotary cutter. And there you go. Now this panel is measuring 10 inch by 7.5 inch. Now let's take panel 6, and if you use cotton quilting fabric or lightweight fabric, you may want to interface the wrong side with mid-weight interfacing. I use fusible fleece for this project. So you want to lay this right side up and then take the pocket panel and lay that wrong side down. Secure them in place with some clips and then baste stitch all around with 1/8 inch of seam allowance. And voila, the upper pocket is done and our front panel is ready to go. Now let's work on the back exterior. So before I apply the fusible fleece, I did apply a little bit of fusible woven interfacing along the top edges to stabilize the zipper area, because I think the fusible fleece will be too bulky. And then I'm going to fuse this with the fusible fleece, of course centering the position. Now let's work on the back pocket. So you want to prepare panel 8 and panel 9. Fuse the wrong side of panel 8 with fusible woven interfacing. So we're gonna do the back exterior pocket pretty much the same way with the mini crossbody bag one. First, we're gonna install the male magnetic snap closure on the right side of panel 9 or the pocket interior. Apply a little bit of interfacing around the area where we're gonna install the magnetic snap closure, which is about 1¼ inch from the top edges, of course, on the center. So let's install the male magnetic snap on that 1¼ inch point mark. And once you've done that, you want to lay fabric 8 and fabric 9 right sides together and then stitch the top edges with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. Then you want to press the seams open, fold wrong sides together and then press and then top stitch. Now we're going to install the female magnetic snap. So first we're going to assess the position. Lay the pocket panel on the right side of panel 7 or the back exterior panel, aligning the sides and the bottom. And then mark the center of the magnetic snap closure where it's sitting on the back exterior. And once you've done that, you want to go ahead and install the female magnetic snap closure. Now let's take the pocket panel and lay that wrong side down, matching the magnetic snap closure, and then sew the sides and the bottom with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. And voila, the back exterior is done and ready to go. Now we're gonna work on the back interior. So let's start by working on the card pocket. Let's prepare the card pocket panel, or what we call here panel A. Fuse the wrong side with some fusible woven interfacing, and then draw the pleat lines on the wrong side of your pocket panel, just like shown on the screen right now. So this side will be the top of your pocket, and this side will be the bottom of your pocket. So we're gonna start folding and pressing from the bottom. So you wanna have your pocket panel wrong side up. Fold the 2 3/4 inch line towards the top. I like to first make the initial crease and then press. Now open this up, and then we're gonna fold the next line, the 1 3/4 inch line. And this time you wanna fold this towards the bottom, just like so. So you wanna maintain the first fold line, and this is how it should look on the right side. Now let's go ahead and press. Now we're gonna fold the next line, or the 2 1/2 inch line, towards the top. Just like before, I use my metal ruler to help me create the crease, and then press. So we're just gonna keep alternating. Now we're gonna open this one and fold the next line, the 1 3/4 inch line, towards the bottom. And of course, when you do this, you don't want to mess with the previous folding. And then let's press this. Fold the next line towards the top, and then press. Now we're gonna fold the last line towards the bottom, and then press. Now give this one more good pressing. Make it nice and crisp. So you should end up with 3 pleated lines. Now let's top stitch along the pleat lines. So you may top stitch with 1/8 inch or 1/16 inch of seam allowance, whichever one is more convenient for you. Next, we're gonna draw a line right on the center. So measure 4 inches from the side edges, and then draw the line with disappearing fabric marker. Now you wanna sew right on that center line, and you wanna start from the bottom, and then sew the side edges as well with 1/8 inch of seam allowance. Now we're gonna trim the bottom of this pocket so that it will measure 5 inches tall. Again, we're doing this to accommodate in case any error or mistake when folding and pressing the pocket. So I'm aligning my ruler at 5 inch point, and then trim the bottom with my rotary cutter. Next, we're gonna sew panel B to the short sides of panel A, and you wanna use 1/4 inch of seam allowance. Press the seams towards panel B, and then top stitch. Now repeat the same to the opposite side, and once you've done that, you want to take panel C, and we're going to sew this to the top and the bottom, also with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. Press the seams towards panel C, and then top stitch. Repeat the same to the opposite side. Now we're going to work on the slip pockets, so go ahead and take panel D or the pocket panels, lay them right sides together, and then stitch along the top edges with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. Press the seams open, fold wrong sides together, and then press, and then top stitch along the top edges. Position the pocket panel on the right side of panel E. We're gonna divide this pocket into 2 slots. So you wanna measure 5 inches from the side edge of your pocket, and then draw a straight line to mark the seam line. And then we're gonna sew right on the center. Then sew the sides and the bottom with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. Now we're gonna work on the D-ring tabs. I use vinyl or faux leather for the D-ring tabs and the strap as well. Now you can absolutely make the usual fabric strap if that's what you prefer. Feel free to do so. First, we're gonna draw a line on the center, lengthwise on the wrong side. So I simply measure 1 inch and then draw a straight line. Fold the side edges towards the center line. Secure with some clips. And then stitch with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. My walking foot works perfect in sewing vinyl. Now, depending on your fabric and your machine, Teflon foot will also works great for sewing vinyl. So you may want to do a little bit of testing beforehand to see which one works best for you. And you should end up with something like this. Now let's attach the D-ring. And of course you want to have the right side to be facing out. Now let's position this on the side edges of your back exterior about an inch down from the top edge. And then clip, and then do the same on the opposite side. And then stitch this in place with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. I made the adjustable strap exactly the same way I did with the Misty patchwork bag, the one that I shared previously. So I will refer you to that tutorial. You can check the link somewhere in the description box. Now feel free to make your strap with regular method or any method that you desire. You can also use webbing strap. Now we're gonna work on the zipper closure, so you wanna trim the zipper to measure 9 inch. Now let's install the zipper tabs. This will be different than when we did the front zipper pocket. Cut 2 little fabric squares measuring 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch. Fold one of the side edges towards the wrong side about 1/4 inch. And then press. Repeat the same to the opposite side. Now fold this in half, wrong sides together, so that the folded edges will be touching each other. And then press. Insert the edges of the zipper into the fold of the zipper tab, all the way in, making sure that the edges of the zipper are touching the edges of the zipper tab. Now you wanna clip this in place, repeat the same to the opposite side, and then stitch along the open edges here with about 1/8 inch of seam allowance. Once you've done that, let's trim off the excess zipper tab to be the same width as the zipper tape. Now it's time to assemble our bag, so lay the front exterior panel right side up. And again, I'm going to apply the basting tape along the top edges of my exterior panel. Now take the zipper, and again I like to have the direction of the zipper pull to be consistent as the front's exterior zipper pockets. Now let's lay this right side down, center the position. So there should be about 1/2 inch gap on both sides since the zipper is shorter by 1 inch. Now let's apply basting tape on the edges of the zipper. Now let's take the front interior panel, which is the one with the slip pockets, and then stitch this in place with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. Now let's turn this to the right side, press the seams, and then top stitch. I've already applied the basting tape along the top edges. Now take the zipper panel and lay that right side down. Again, apply some basting tape on the edges of the zipper tape, and then take the back interior panel and lay that right side down. Now we're gonna sew this in place with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. Once you've done that, let's turn this to the right side. Press the seams, then top stitch. Now you wanna unzip the zipper. Separate the exterior from the interior fabric, right sides together. Now at this point, the zipper teeth should be sitting on the interior side. First we're gonna match the top stitching line, just like that, and then clip. Repeat the same to the opposite side. I like to sew from the exterior side, and then sew the interior side, leaving about 3 to 4 inches of opening at the bottom of the interior. Start sewing from the top edge, do not sew over the zipper tab, and use 1/2 inch of seam allowance. Now when you sew the interior, simply continue the seam line from the exterior. And of course you want to backstitch to reinforce. Now we're going to bax the corner of the bag just to add a little bit of depth. So let's poke the corner and lay it flat, matching the side seams and the bottom seams, just like so. And then stitch about 1/2 inch away from the edge. So you want to do this to all the corners, including the interior, of course. And once you've done that, let's trim off the excess fabric about 1/4 inch away from the seam line. Now let's turn this inside out through the opening hole. Now we're going to take care of the opening hole. As usual, let's fold the raw edges towards the wrong side about 1/2 inch and then stitch this to close the opening. Once you've done that, you want to put the lining back inside and then attach the strap, and voila, your bag is done. And that's about it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.